Ah, the strong female character. How many videos have you seen where men talk about how a strong female character should be written in stories? Critical Drinker has made his entire career talking trash about women.
I think he might be in love with Brie Larson.
Now, let me ask you this. How many videos have you seen critiquing the way strong male characters are written? When people talk about male characters, they never feel the need to add the word male front and center. It's just character. That character might be well written or badly, be deep or surface level, but people treat them as a character, not male character. However, when people talk about female characters, it's always female that, female this, female, female, female.
That doesn't seem fair.
Why is that? Well, the easiest answer is misogyny. Some people, mostly men, but some women as well, are frothing at the mouth to tear women apart, and a bunch of people enjoy seeing them do that. But instead of going with the easiest answer, let's take a closer look. The female character has to be perfect. Let's be honest, it's hard to write good characters. They have to be three-dimensional, have depth, have interesting backstories, have realistic goals, and so on. Usually, the characters are what make or break the story. When a male character isn't perfect, people tend to overlook it. He can even be a nothing burger of a character, but usually, if he is strong and cool, people don't care. A cool character is a likable character, even if he is underdeveloped. When a male character rises above the okay level and shows emotional depth, maturity, vulnerability, complexity, is not only physically strong, but strong in other ways as well, then they are hailed. Everyone understands that the author did something amazing, that they went above and beyond, and that this level of genius is not easily replicated. However, when it comes to strong female characters, that level of superb writing is considered to be the norm. Everything below it is trash. A female character is strong from the very beginning and didn't really have to struggle, overcome insurmountable hardships, learn lifelong lessons, and achieve enlightenment to achieve that power? Woke trash, they can't even write a decent character anymore. A male character gets handed OP powers and annihilates everyone in his path. Every single protagonist. OMG, OMG, he's so cool, I love him. That's how you write a good character.
That doesn't seem fair.
Is there something inherently wrong with how Captain Marvel was handled? No. We see Carol struggling as a child but still standing up no matter what, and single-mindedly reaching for her goal. Even as an adult, we see her struggle. And finally overcome her, let's call it mental block, and achieve her full power. Is it absolutely perfect? No. Is it a perfectly serviceable story? Yeah. If Captain Marvel was a guy, then the movie would comfortably sit in the not terrible, good, but not perfect category, where many beloved male characters find themselves in. Nick Fury losing his eye was stupid though. But since Carol is a woman, and a woman who easily beats up men no less, every flaw is under the magnifying glass, every decision is scrutinized, and a perfectly decent movie is being labeled as horrible. Unfortunately, how people treat fictional women is the same way people treat real women. For a woman to be considered good in a male-dominated field, she has to be perfect. She has to be better than all of the men. If she is on the same level as an average man, then she is considered bad at the job. Take the 1973 Battle of the Sexes, for example. King had to beat Riggs. If a man had lost against Riggs, then it would have been a simple loss. But King losing would have meant that women, in general, were inferior to men. Women have to be better than men to prove that they can stand on the same level as them. Which is absurd.
That doesn't seem fair.
Heaven Official's Blessing has an amazing character that embodies this perfectly. It is Ling Wen. In a world where it is possible for people to become gods through their skill, Ling Wen is the #1 civil god. Impressive, right? Well, her followers think that she is a man. When she ascended to godhood, Basically, no one worshipped her, because the people believed that a woman couldn't be a good civil god. One day, her followers basically gave up and started telling everyone that Lingwen was actually a man. And all of a sudden, people saw how amazing Lingwen is, and not long after, Lingwen became the #1 civil god. The kicker? She changed absolutely nothing about her work. The skills that were insufficient and bad as a woman were the same skills that got her so much praise as a man. And that's not all. Everyone in heaven called the palace of Lingwen insufficient because she couldn't keep up with their demands. Well, the moment Lingwen vanished and the other gods had to handle her work, they immediately changed their tune. Because none of the other gods were able to do it. I'm not saying that they were slower or worse. No, they saw piles upon piles of paperwork and couldn't understand what was what. When Lingwen appeared again, she was able to fix that mess in a matter of hours. So no, strong female characters don't get this amount of hate because they are poorly written. It's because women are expected to be perfect to be considered good, while men can just be good to be considered good. Let's look at a movie that is actually bad, the live-action Mulan. I absolutely despise this movie. The original Mulan is my favorite Disney movie and the live-action butchers it. However, I dislike it precisely because it's a remake. If the original didn't exist, then it would be an alright movie in my eyes. There's nothing special about it, the messaging is a bit off, but I wouldn't hate it. The Incel Squad, on the other hand, would still try to rip it to shreds. Because the main character is a woman who was born with special powers and is better than the men around her. If you really think that Mulan being a woman isn't the main issue, then imagine that Mulan was a man. Let's say, instead of being a woman, the problem was that he was of the lowest class. And in that world, the class you were born in was the class you stay for your entire life. Because he was born in this class, he had no rights and had to hide his powers away. And everything plays out exactly like in the live-action Mulan. It would be a meh action movie. The character arc is basically non-existent, the messaging is super flawed, but if you turn your brain off, it's a fun action movie. You cannot convince me that the people would hate the movie so much if it played out like that. People that are full of misogyny will find any excuse to hate on women. Which leads us to the next point. Twisting the narrative. If you've watched any of the Incel Squad videos, then you've probably seen this clip.
Doing Hunger Games, nobody had ever put a woman in the lead of an action movie.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what do you think Jennifer Lawrence is talking about here? If you had only watched Critical Drinkers videos, you would think that she is full of herself, showing that she is superior, that no one can do what she did, and yada yada yada. Well, if you'd watched more than 2 seconds of the interview and had more than one brain cell, then you'd know that it is the absolute opposite of what she said. You see those little 3 words after the comma? We were told. She is not saying her opinion. She is explaining the lies they were told at the time. Like, she might have worded it a bit better, but if you watch the entire interview, Jennifer was struggling a bit to formulate that sentence. Basically, she says that at the time of filming The Hunger Games, she was told lies that women can't be the main characters of action movies because while both boys and girls can relate to male leads, boys cannot identify with female leads. And Viola says, oh, absolutely, agreeing that a lot of people believe this lie. Okay, fine, I hear you say, but she's still showing how she's better than others. Well, Jennifer is not praising the Hunger Games here. She's praising Viola, who starred in The Woman King, saying that it makes her happy to see movies that shatter those lies and that Viola was absolutely amazing in that movie. All of the videos that complain how Jennifer is full of herself always cut before this part.
Amazing to watch it happen and watch you at the helm, and my God, you're...
So we have women praising other women and men changing the narrative to make those women look bad. Amazing, isn't it? Next, let's take a look at Star Wars. Now, I'm not going to defend the sequel trilogy. I think The Last Jedi is overhated and The Rise of Skywalker is a mess, and let's leave it at that. We are talking about characters and not if the movie's plot was good.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
The complaint I heard over and over is that Rey is a Mary Sue. Let's see how they defend that claim. Number 1. Rey is a skilled fighter without any training. Okay, let's compare Luke with Rey. Neither of them had proper training. Luke trained a bit with Obi-Wan, but as we know from the prequel trilogy, that thing is to train small children. I don't think that is enough to count as proper training. So, we have a farm boy who had very little training, and then we have a scavenger who grew up in a dog-eat-dog world where she had to fight for her survival. Given these descriptions, who do you think would win in a fight? One video, I don't remember whose, said that in this fight, Rey should have struggled and Finn should have saved her. Like, what? Rey deals with this every single day of her life. If she didn't know how to take care of herself, she would have died long ago. If anything, this scene shows she is a skilled fighter because of her upbringing. If Rey was a man who grew up in these conditions, everyone would expect her to be a freakishly good fighter, and no one would have a problem with that. Number 2. Rey knows too much about technology and how to fix things. She's a scavenger. She did that her entire life. It's logical that she has knowledge about those things, knows how to think outside the box and adapt to different situations. Number 3. She is too strong with the Force. I mean, so is Luke. Jedi are trained from a very young age, but Luke managed to instinctively use the Force while being an untrained adult. The Force works in mysterious ways. Number 4. She is better than Kylo Ren. Ah yes, let's move to our next point. The strong female character can't be better than the men around her. A lot of people are mad that Rey barely managed to hold her own in a fight against a wounded Kylo Ren on an exploding planet. Seriously? When male characters fight someone, people find it easy to suspend their disbelief. Unrealistic choreography? That's fine. Fighting someone that realistically they could never beat? He's the main character. Of course he's strong and skilled. But when people talk about strong female characters, then everything has to make perfect sense. And a lot of stupid men think that all men are stronger than all women. I've seen so many men on the internet saying that an average man could beat a professional female fighter. Can we organize a tournament where these men actually get to fight those women, please? How could Galadriel beat those men? She's just a frail little girl. We are in the fantasy realm. She is an elf that is thousands of years old, and earlier she took down a troll. I think beating a few men is like a walk in a park for her. I'm not defending the Rings of Power and the choices they made, but Galadriel is written as being a very skilled fighter. So, if she wouldn't have been able to beat a few human men, then that would have been more immersion-breaking. Back to Captain Marvel. So, many men are butthurt that Carol easily beats Young Rogue at the end. Carol's story wasn't about becoming physically stronger. It was about her learning not to let others hold her back, learning who to rely on and whose opinions not to listen to. There will always be people trying to hold you down and stop you from using your full potential. Their opinions don't matter. Young Rogue orders Carol to prove her worth to him. She has nothing to prove to him. She no longer cares what he thinks and blasts him. The execution of that message might not have been perfect, but it is there. You don't need to prove anything to people who only wish for your downfall. Tinsel squad. Women must be strong in other ways. How many times have you heard people complaining that modern female leads don't care about motherhood and that that's a bad thing? Well, where are the male characters whose main goal in life is to become a loving, attentive father? Where are they? You do know that to make a child, you need a man as well, right? And that both parents have to equally take care of that child. Strong female characters are critiqued for being physically strong, while they should be emotionally strong, support the men, and be strong as mothers. Like, those traits are good, and some characters can definitely be like that. Emphasis on some. Just like not all male characters act the same way, you can't expect all women to fit one mold. And it is perfectly fine for a woman not to want children. A woman's worth isn't tied to her husband and children. A woman can save the day and decline the guy that likes her, and it makes for a perfectly good character. Let's talk Mao Mao. She is a very good character. There is no denying that. What I don't like though is that people hail her and say, "Look, that's how you write a good female character." I mean, she is a very well written character, there's no denying that, like I said. But what some people really mean by saying that is, see? A female character is strong without being physically strong. That's how all strong female characters should be written. And like, you can be a smart, interesting character while still being able to beat up those around you. People often compare Mao Mao to Sherlock Holmes. Well, Sherlock Holmes was a skilled fighter. He knew his Bartitsu. I don't see anyone complaining when a male character, whose main strength is his intellect, can also fight. Take Urahara as another example. The dude is a genius who wins battles using his intellect. Is he also physically strong? Well, of course. Somehow, this problem only arises when people talk about female characters. You have enough representation. Why would you need more? I want you to take a look at this image. Now at this, and at this. Do you see something in common? In every group, the majority of people are men. Bleach is my favorite anime, and it definitely has cool, strong female characters. But look at the OG captains. There are 2 women and 11 men. Those 2 women are extremely cool, and I'm not complaining about them. I mean, a master healer who only learned how to heal because her enemies kept dying too quickly is metal. But the fact that there are almost 6 times more male captains than there are female in a world where sexism isn't prevalent is a bit sad. Demon Slayer. The Demon Slayer corps doesn't discriminate by gender, but there are only 2 female Hashira out of 9. Chibi Hero X. Out of 10 heroes, well, more like 11, there are only 3 women. This world has a sexism problem, so it's more believable. But it doesn't change the fact that the creators decided to keep the minority of the characters women. All of these shows have very well written, cool, unique, strong female characters that are stronger than some or even most of the men in the group. But they are still in the minority. It's like, here, have a few strong female characters and stop crying that there aren't any, while most of the show is still dominated by men. Imagine if the numbers were switched, 2 male captains and 11 female. 7 of the 9 Hashira are women. Out of the top 11 heroes, only 3 are men. There would be an outcry. People would scream that the show has gotten woke. How could they erase men like that? The inequality. Some people might argue that Bleach and Demon Slayer are shonen, so it's natural for the majority of the characters to be men. If you believe that, then you are just proving Jennifer Lawrence's point. People still believe that boys cannot identify with female characters. And that leads us to my next point. Think of the children! Children do need good characters to relate to, and both girls and boys can identify with female and male characters. But for some reason, some people claim that little girls' role models should only be loving mothers. Stupid! That's stupid! I am a woman and I used to be a little girl, so I believe I can say what kind of characters make some little girls happy. I started watching Bleach when I was around 7 or 8, and my all-time favorite character is still Rukia. Why? That's why. My favorite Harry Potter character is Hermione. Why? That's why. My favorite Disney princess is Mulan. Why? That's why. Are some of my favorite characters men? Absolutely. And I can definitely relate to them. Children like what they like. You could have shoved 100 motherly female characters in little me's face, and I would have still disliked them. Child me craved for a female character who could beat up any man. And I believe that children deserve that kind of characters. Characters have to struggle. Yes, it's interesting to see characters struggle. And for women, a very real struggle is misogyny. But men usually don't like when fictional characters have this struggle. Well, tough. This struggle will be depicted in fiction as long as it exists in real life. Maybe when some men will become nicer and women actually start choosing them over the bear, we will finally be able to put that struggle behind us. But the future ain't bright in this area. A good example of a fictional world without sexism? A bit off topic, but I wanted to mention this. There is a book series which portrays a country where women and men are treated pretty much equally in a realistic way. It is done in a way that you don't even realize it. In one scene, the main character kills a soldier and finds a lock of hair on the body. He feels awful and thinks that the soldier had a life and a family, a spouse who is waiting at home for her. Her? That's the reaction I had when I read that. Our brains are so used to men being soldiers, especially in medieval setting, that I didn't even think about the possibility of the soldier being a woman. The lock of hair is her husband's, who is back at home taking care of the family. The book treats women like that, like it's natural for them to be fighters. However, it also doesn't shy away from the horrors women face, like what men can do to female prisoners. Yeah, that. The first book in the series is The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. It's really good, you should read it. Conclusion. So, strong female characters. Most of the hate for them are from people who are full of misogyny. If you would replace the female characters with male characters, the same people who hate those movies would say that they are okay or even good. It's okay for strong female characters to beat up men. It's okay for them to be strong without any real struggle. It's okay if they are not perfectly written. It's okay for the majority of the cast to be women. And it's okay for them to fight misogyny. You don't have to get down on the haters' level. You don't have to prove anything to them. And if they become too annoying, it's okay to blast them. Have a good day.